Hello everyone, so I'm here today to talk to you about the top 5 books that I struggled to finish. But first, tea. Number 5 is going to have to go to Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. Now I think if I read this now I wouldn't have nearly the amount of issues that I did, but the first time that I read it I was pretty young and it was a pretty thick book with some heavy themes and it just completely overwhelmed me. But I did see the movie and thought that I understood the book better, so I'm guessing that now if I actually read the book I'd probably really enjoy it. 4 is going to have to go to Twilight because I did actually make it through Twilight, like the first book in the series. I didn't make it through the rest of them because I barely made it through Twilight. I am very particular about my vampire fiction, like I said in the last video, so that does have a big thing to do with it. However, I also have a really weird thing when it comes to YA romance. I'm very particular about the way that it's portrayed because I think it's not portrayed very healthily in most literature. And I think it's really important that we do portray that in a more healthy light for young adults. So, not that I'm very good at that yet, but I'm working on it. And Twilight bugged me a little bit in that area. Plus, her writing style is not my cup of tea, like, at all. And I really like tea, so I like all kinds of tea, and just, that was not anything like tea. It's like saying there's tea, but really, it was sludge. I think I took the tea metaphor too far. 3 is going to go to Bleak House by Charles Dickens, and I should warn you that Bleak House was actually not bad. I have issues with Charles Dickens novels, and I did make it through Bleak House in one piece, and I did actually find parts of it really interesting, which for me is an accomplishment. But there are a lot of characters and a lot of words, which is a very common problem with a Dickens novel, and it's kind of hard to keep them straight. But it was also a victim of circumstance. I was reading it during 19th century novel, which means it was a lot of Victorian novels set in England all on top of each other. And it's the same reason why I had really bad difficulties trying to get through Middlemarch, even though I hear it's wonderful. 2 is going to go to Haunted by Chuck Palahniuk, or however you pronounce his name. And if you haven't heard the stories of him reading the story Guts and all the people fainting because he said they had to hold their breath during it or something, that's the opening of Haunted, and it's disgusting. Gross. It's like the most disgusting book I have ever read. So I did make it through it because I had read through Fight Club and Lullaby and Diary, and I had really liked them. And I was surprised that I liked them because they were more contemporary and I was super into 19th century novels. But Haunted quickly put me off the contemporary track for a while. It wasn't just that it was graphic, it was like super gross. I have no other way of describing it. My last one's not going to surprise anybody because I've talked about it on this channel before, but I had a lot of issues making it through Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace. I do appreciate the actual writing much more now than I did in the thick of it, but it was obnoxious to carry around and I felt like a douche carrying it onto the bus. Like, I just felt like the most pretentious thing in the entire world, and I really wanted to be pretentious for a long time, so that's saying something. And there were a lot of characters, and there were a lot of words, and there was a lot to keep straight, but that wasn't even the issue. The issue for me was entirely due to structure and things repeating, but not actually repeating in a way that made any sense. And the most interesting scenes didn't make sense with the larger theme, the larger idea of what was going on, and so those were the ones that stuck, and so it made everything else not make a lot of sense. I don't know. This is probably just a me reading it badly thing, except that it was really big and I'm never going to read it again to find out. And also I'm never going to suggest to anybody else that they read it to find out. But, you know, he was a good writer, so try reading his nonfiction. I really enjoyed that. This was a Top 5 Wednesday video, so I will actually leave a link in the description if you want to see more videos or more posts on this topic, so you can get a list of all the Wednesdayers down there. And other than that, I will see you probably later this week. Depends on my editing skills, it might be early next week. But regardless, I will see you soon, and that's what matters. So, bye!